All right, let's get into it. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be tackling something I think we can all relate to, especially as we get a little older.
Yeah.
It's that feeling of like, whoa, when your balance isn't quite what it used to be. We're talking about preventing falls.
Right.
You sent in some really interesting stuff about a program called Neuro-Thrive.
Okay.
It claims to be a breakthrough for preventing falls, and we are going deep. We're doing a deep dive into a review article and some snippets from the Neuro-Thrive sales page.
Interesting.
To see if it lives up to the hype.
I'm intrigued. I'm always a little skeptical of anything that sounds too good to be true.
Yeah.
But I'm eager to see what the science behind this program actually says.
Me too. So let's break this down.
Okay.
The review tells us Neuro-Thrive was developed by Chris Wilson, who calls himself a balance specialist.
Okay.
The core of the program is this super quick daily routine, just 10 seconds,
Wow.
using what they call a nerve wake-up ball.
From what I gather, this wake-up call, so to speak, is all about targeting the deep peroneal nerve in your foot.
Okay.
The sales page makes some pretty bold claims using words like life-changing and showcasing glowing testimonials. But the real question is, can stimulating this nerve actually lead to better balance?
That's what we're here to find out.
Yeah.
The review actually pointed to some research by a Harvard evolutionary biologist,
Okay.
Dr. James, that might shed some light on this. Apparently, he studied tribes in Kenya who walk barefoot their whole lives.
Okay.
And get this, they experience almost no falls, even as they get older.
That's amazing.
I mean, think about how much we worry about falls as we age.
Right.
And these folks are practically immune.
It really makes you wonder if we've been doing something wrong all along.
Yeah.
What's fascinating is that Dr. James linked this incredible stability to a highly active, deep peroneal nerve in those barefoot walkers.
Okay.
The review highlighted how different that is for people in developed countries like us, who wear shoes from a young age.
Yeah.
It suggests that maybe all those years of wearing shoes have actually dulled our deep peroneal nerve's sensitivity,
Oh.
making us more susceptible to falls.
So you're telling me that all those years of wearing shoes might have actually made me more prone to falling?
Wow.
That's wild.
Potentially.
It makes you think twice about those comfy sneakers, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
But if that's the case, then Neuro-Thrive's approach of reactivating this nerve through a foot railing ritual
Yeah.
starts to make a lot of sense. It's like they're saying, hey, we can wake up that sleeping nerve and get those stabilizing muscles firing again.
Exactly. But the skeptic in me can't help but wonder if 10 seconds a day with a spiky ball on your foot can truly make a significant difference.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if there's any research to support that idea.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps stimulating the nerve, even for a short period, could trigger a cascade of positive effects. Maybe it jumpstarts the nerve's ability to communicate with the muscles responsible for keeping you upright. Or it could even lead to those muscles getting stronger over time.
That's a really interesting thought.
Yeah.
Even a small improvement in nerve function and muscle strength could potentially make a big difference in someone's stability.
Right.
Okay, so the review went on to list a bunch of benefits that Neuro-Thrive supposedly provides.
Okay.
Increased stability and confidence, less fear of falling, better mobility, even greater independence. They really paint a picture of regaining your freedom and enjoying an active life without worrying about taking a tumble.
Those are some pretty impressive claims. While those benefits sound appealing, we have to ask, are they directly supported by the research on the deep peroneal nerve?
Yeah.
Or are they extrapolations? Could other factors, like a general increase in awareness of one's body and movement, contribute to those outcomes as well?
Oh, okay.
Maybe the simple act of paying attention to your feet and balance, even for a few seconds each day, makes you more mindful of your movements throughout the day.
I hadn't thought about it like that. But that's a great point. It's easy to get caught up in those exciting promises, but we need to make sure we're looking at the whole picture.
Right.
Speaking of getting caught up around, the review included a few of those glowing testimonials I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
We've got Jane from Florida, who regained her confidence after a difficult time, John from New Jersey, who overcame his fear of stairs, and Lana from Texas, who witnessed her mother's life transformed. It's hard not to be moved by these stories. They really tap into our desire for a simple solution to a common problem.
I agree. Those stories are compelling. It's natural to feel hopeful when you hear about people experiencing such positive changes.
Yeah.
However, while testimonials can be powerful, it's important to remember they're individual experiences
Yeah.
and might not represent the average outcome. It's crucial to consider potential biases and the lack of controlled studies.
That's a really important point. Just because something worked for one person doesn't guarantee it will work for everyone. So it's great that these people had positive experiences, but we can't rely on testimonials alone to determine if Neuro-Thrive is truly effective. Let's move on to what you actually get with this program.
Okay.
Besides the nerve wake-up ball, which the review described as a specialized spike ball.
Okay.
You get a DVD with follow-along videos, immediate access to digital downloads, and some bonus materials, including a guide for fall-proofing your home.
That home safety guide sounds quite useful. Addressing environmental hazards is a critical aspect of fall prevention.
Yeah.
That often gets overlooked. Even if the nerve stimulation itself isn't a miracle cure, making your environment safer can significantly reduce your risk of falling.
That's true. And having a structured program with videos and a manual could definitely provide guidance and motivation for some people.
Right.
It's like having a coach in your corner encouraging you to stick with the routine. Okay, so who exactly is Neuro-Thrive aimed at? Both the review and the sales page seem to be targeting anyone over 60 who's worried about falls.
Okay.
They also mention folks who just want to improve their overall balance and mobility, not just those concerned about falling.
It's interesting that they emphasize a safe and natural solution you can do at home.
Yeah.
This suggests they are appealing to individuals who might be hesitant about medical interventions or find traditional balance therapies too challenging.
Right.
They're really hitting on the desire for an easy and accessible solution.
And now for the price tag.
Yeah.
Neuro-Thrive is a one-time purchase of $47. They also offer a 60-day money-back guarantee, so there's not a lot of risk involved.
That's a good point. The cost is relatively low compared to ongoing physical therapy sessions or other specialized balance programs.
Yeah.
But again, the question remains, is it worth the investment?
Yeah.
Can such a simple and affordable program deliver on its promises?
That's the million-dollar question. We've covered a lot of ground already, uncovering this intriguing science about the deep peroneal nerve and its potential connection to falls. We've also explored the Neuro-Thrive program itself, with its simple 10-second ritual, glowing testimonials, and comprehensive package.
Yeah, and of course we have to acknowledge the potential for marketing hype woven throughout the sales page.
Right?
There's so much to think about. I'm really curious to see how this deep dive unfolds.
Me too. We're just getting started. Up next, we'll unpack more of the scientific basis and really dig into the potential benefits and drawbacks of Neuro-Thrive. Stay with us. Okay, so we've established that this deep peroneal nerve seems to play a key role in balance.
Right.
And Neuro-Thrive is all about stimulating it.
Yeah.
But how exactly does this 10-second ritual with a nerve wake-up ball compare to, say, what a physical therapist might do to address balance issues?
That's a great question. A physical therapist takes a much more individualized approach.
Okay.
They would assess your specific needs, taking into account your medical history,
Right.
physical limitations, and any underlying conditions that could be contributing to your balance problems. Then they would develop a tailored plan
Okay.
that might include a variety of techniques.
So you're saying it's not just about stimulating this one nerve.
Right.
There's a lot more to it.
Exactly. The physical therapists might use manual therapy to address muscle imbalances or joint restrictions, or they might prescribe specific exercises to strengthen the muscles involved in balance.
Okay.
They might even use electrical stimulation to target specific nerves and muscles.
Wow.
It's all about creating a holistic program that addresses your unique needs.
So it sounds like Neuro-Thrive is more of a one-size-fits-all approach.
Yeah, you could say that.
While physical therapy is customized to the individual, but wouldn't even a small improvement in nerve function be beneficial?
Right.
Even if it's not a comprehensive solution?
That's certainly possible. There's actually some research suggesting that even brief periods of sensory stimulation to the feet can have a positive impact on balance.
Interesting.
Think about walking barefoot on uneven surfaces, like sand or a rocky hiking trail.
Right.
That naturally activates the nerves and muscles in your feet and ankles,
Yeah.
challenging your balance system and forcing it to work harder.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
I've definitely noticed that I feel more sure-footed when I'm walking barefoot on the beach
Yeah.
compared to, say, walking on a smooth sidewalk in shoes.
Right.
It's like my feet are more awake and aware of what's going on beneath them.
Exactly. And that's where the idea behind Neuro-Thrive comes in.
Okay.
It's trying to mimic that natural sensory stimulation by targeting the deep peroneal nerve with the nerve wake-up ball.
So even if it's not as comprehensive as a physical therapy program,
Right.
it could still offer some benefit,
Mm-hmm.
especially for people who lead sedentary lives and don't get much sensory input to their feet.
Exactly.
But what about those other claims Neuro-Thrive makes?
Yeah.
Like reducing fear of falling and improving mobility.
Yeah.
Can stimulating the deep peroneal nerve really have that kind of impact?
Well, it's important to remember that balance is a complex system that involves multiple factors.
Right.
Not just the deep peroneal nerve.
Whoa.
Your inner ear vision and the nervous system all play a role.
Okay.
And they all need to be working together effectively for you to maintain your balance.
So even if Neuro-Thrive does improve nerve function in your foot,
Yeah.
it might not be a magic bullet for all balance issues.
Right.
You might need to address other factors as well.
Right.
It's like trying to fix a car problem by only focusing on one part.
Mm-hmm.
You might need to look at the engine, the tires, and the brakes to get the whole thing running smoothly.
That's a great analogy. Now, when it comes to the claim of reducing fear of falling,
Yeah.
that's a bit more nuanced. It's certainly possible that feeling more stable on your feet could lead to increased confidence
Right.
and less anxiety about falling. If you're not constantly worried about tripping or losing your balance, you're likely to feel more secure and independent.
So it's not that Neuro-Thrive directly addresses the fear,
Right.
but it could potentially create a cascade of positive effects
Mm-hmm.
that ultimately lead to a reduction in fear.
Exactly. It's like creating a positive feedback loop.
Okay.
Improved balance leads to more confidence,
Yeah.
which leads to less fear,
Right.
which in turn might encourage you to be more active
Yeah.
and further improve your balance.
And when it comes to the claims about increased mobility and independence,
Right.
those could be potential downstream benefits as well.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not that Neuro-Thrive directly improves those things,
Mm-hmm.
but it could create a ripple effect that ultimately leads to those outcomes.
Right.
It's all about understanding how these different factors are interconnected.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as stimulating one nerve and suddenly all your balance problems are solved.
Precisely. And that's why it's so important to be critical of any program
Yeah.
that makes grand promises about solving complex health issues. There's rarely a quick fix.
Right.
And it's essential to look beyond the marketing hype and consider all the factors involved.
That's great advice. So we've talked about what you get with Neuro-Thrive,
Yeah.
but what about what you don't get?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any potential downsides or things people should be aware of before investing in this program?
One thing to consider is that this program relies heavily on self-motivation.
Oh.
You're doing this 10-second ritual on your own at home.
Yeah.
So you need to be disciplined enough to stick with it.
Right.
If you're the type of person who struggles with consistency,
Yeah.
it might not be the best fit for you.
So you need to be willing to make it a part of your daily routine,
Right.
just like brushing your teeth or taking your vitamins.
Exactly.
It's not a magic cure that works overnight.
Right.
It requires some effort on your part.
Mm-hmm.
What about side effects? Is there anything to worry about in terms of safety?
The review didn't mention any specific side effects, and rolling a spiky ball on your foot is unlikely to cause harm for most people.
Yeah.
However, as with any new exercise program,
Right.
it's always wise to consult with your doctor or physical therapist, especially if you have any pre-existing conditions.
It's always better to err on the side of caution,
Exactly.
especially when it comes to your health.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's even more important for older adults who might have other health concerns that could be contributing to their balance problems.
Absolutely. It's crucial to rule out any underlying medical conditions that could be masked by simply focusing on the deep peroneal nerve.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
You don't want to be treating the symptom without addressing the root cause.
Exactly.
So it sounds like Neuro-Thrive could potentially be a helpful tool for improving balance,
Right.
but it's not a cure-all, and it's not for everyone.
Right.
And even if it does provide some benefits,
Yeah.
it's essential to approach it with realistic expectations.
Yeah. I completely agree. It's important to remember that every individual is different, and what works for one person might not work for another.
Right.
There's no guarantee that this program will solve all your balance problems,
Right.
but it could be a step in the right direction.
Okay, so now that we've explored the science behind Neuro-Thrive
Yeah.
and considered its potential benefits and drawbacks,
Right.
I'm curious to see how their sales page aligns with what we've learned.
Me too.
Shall we take a look and see how they present their program to potential customers?
Let's do it. It'll be interesting to see how they frame the science and the benefits
Yeah.
and whether they address any potential limitations.
All right, let's crack open that sales page and see what they have to say.
All right, diving into the Neuro-Thrive sales page.
All right.
First impression.
It's
It's definitely playing on our emotions.
yeah.
Lots of talk about regaining freedom and confidence, enjoying an active lifestyle, and pictures of smiling active seniors.
And those testimonials we discussed earlier.
Oh, yeah. They're front and center, complete with heartwarming stories and visuals. It definitely tugs at your heartstrings, making you feel like this could be the answer you've been searching for.
It's definitely a compelling approach, but it also raises a flag for me. It makes me wonder if they're focusing more on appealing to our emotions rather than presenting solid evidence.
That's a valid point. While it's understandable for them to highlight the potential benefits, it's also important to be wary of any marketing that relies too heavily on emotional appeal.
Right.
We need to look beyond the heartwarming stories and see if the science backs up their claims.
Okay, so let's dig into that.
Yeah.
How does the sales page present the scientific basis for Neuro-Thrive? Do they go into detail about Dr. James's research and the deep peroneal nerve?
They do mention Dr. James and his findings, but it's a very simplified version of what we saw in the review.
Right.
They talk about the connection between bare feet and balance and how stimulating the deep peroneal nerve can improve stability. But they don't really delve into the specifics of the nerve's function or the mechanisms involved.
So it's kind of like they're name-dropping Harvard and this amazing discovery to lend credibility to their claims without actually providing the in-depth evidence.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit like they're hoping we won't ask too many questions.
That's one way to look at it. It's important to remember that marketing often simplifies complex ideas to make them more appealing to a wider audience.
Right.
But as informed consumers, it's our job to dig deeper and not take everything at face value.
You're absolutely right. We can't just blindly accept what they're telling us. We need to be critical thinkers and evaluate the information for ourselves.
Exactly.
Speaking of things that make you think twice, let's talk about cost.
Okay.
The review mentioned a price of $47.
Right.
But I'm noticing different packages and prices here on the sales page.
Okay.
What's going on there?
Ah, yes, the classic upselling techniques. They're offering multiple packages with varying price points, along with limited time offers and bulk discounts. It's a common strategy to encourage customers to spend more by presenting them with different options and perceived value.
So instead of just the basic program with the nerve wake-up ball, they're offering additional resources, bonus materials, and maybe even coaching sessions for a higher price. They even throw in that guide on fall-proofing your home to sweeten the deal.
Yeah.
It's clever marketing.
It is.
But it also makes me a bit wary.
I understand your skepticism.
Yeah.
It's always wise to approach these kinds of offers with a critical eye. Ask yourself, do you really need those extra materials?
Yeah.
Or is the basic program sufficient?
Right.
Is the value they're offering worth the additional cost?
That's a great point. It's easy to get swept up in the excitement of a special deal, but it's important to take a step back and consider what you're actually getting for your money.
Exactly. Don't let marketing tactics pressure you into spending more than you're comfortable with.
All right, so we've examined the science, considered the potential benefits and drawbacks, and analyzed their marketing strategy. It's time for the big question. Is Neuro-Thrive worth considering, or is it just another overhyped product preying on seniors?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's no easy answer. The science behind stimulating the deep peroneal nerve is intriguing.
Yeah.
And it's plausible that the program could offer some benefits for balance, especially for those who might not have access to or the means for traditional therapies.
But as we've discussed, we need to acknowledge the potential for marketing hype.
Right.
And the lack of robust, independent clinical evidence to support those grand claims.
Absolutely. It's crucial to remember that testimonials are not a substitute for scientific research. And what works for one person might not work for everyone.
Right.
Individual needs vary.
Yeah.
And personalized approaches like physical therapy can provide a more comprehensive and tailored solution.
This deep dive has highlighted some really important points to consider. Don't let flashy marketing and emotional appeals sway your judgment.
Right.
Do your own research.
Yeah.
Read reviews from reputable sources. Consult with your healthcare provider. And weigh the potential benefits against the costs and any potential risks.
And remember, balance is a multifaceted issue.
Right.
While Neuro-Thrive might be one piece of the puzzle,
Yeah.
it's not a magic solution. Focusing on overall health, strength training, maintaining an active lifestyle, and addressing any underlying medical conditions are all equally important for preventing falls and maintaining mobility as we age.
We focused a lot on the physical aspects of balance.
Right.
But what about the mental and emotional side of things? I imagine factors like fear, anxiety, and lack of confidence can have a huge impact on our stability and mobility as well.
That's a fantastic point. Even if we address the physical components, those psychological barriers can still hold us back. Exploring mindfulness techniques, addressing those anxieties, and building confidence in our abilities might be just as important as stimulating that nerve in our foot.
That's a great takeaway for our listeners. As you continue your journey toward better balance, remember to consider the whole picture. The physical, mental, and emotional aspects. Do your research, talk to your doctor, and trust your instincts.
And as always, stay curious.
Yes.
Stay informed, and most importantly, stay balanced out there.